which I do think you should have known. Can we kill the lights, please, Ivy? Okay, so the first question says the function h of t is equal to, I am good. H of t is negative 16t squared plus 144, and that represents a function h of t in feet, object dropped to the ground, t seconds after its drop. What's a realistic domain? Now, let me talk about why some of these domains are not realistic. For example, choice 1. Is it possible to have negative time? The domain is the inputs. T. What does T stand for? Time. Can I possibly have the ball at negative 2 seconds? No. Therefore, if you put choice 1, muy malo. Choice 3. Now, we have some girls who can play softball in here. When is the last time you threw the ball in the air for 144 seconds?
Yesterday. I think you had a plane.
What's that?
I think you had a plane.
Yeah, well, that's right. Is that what I read about in the paper, that plane that came down? 144 seconds is a little bit too long for the average ball to be in the air. So, choice 3, out. Choice 4, all real numbers includes negatives. Now, the last time you threw a ball, was it in the air for more or less 3 seconds? Choice 2 is the correct answer. From 0 to 3. I think perhaps you forgot a little bit about what domain means. Domain means the set of all.
X's.
Yes, X is the letter we use, but it's the set of all inputs. Okay? So you just ask yourself, what kind of things could be inputted into this function? And this function, you have to put the time in to figure the height of the ball. So it's t for time. What's a realistic amount of time for the throw? It would be 3 seconds. Okay, next, number 2. Number 2 is all about doing A minus B. And, you know, it's funny because I don't know how you did this, but we've talked a lot about this year. And one of the things I have said, and it's probably been 2 months since I said it, but I used to say it a lot, was if you write these things vertically, you're probably going to get them wrong. And if you write them horizontally, you're probably going to get them right. That's my experience grading thousands of papers. Now, I wonder if that holds true for you. The best way that I believe, and I'm not going to force you to do it, because there are some kids who do it vertically who get it right. And there are some kids who do it horizontally who get it wrong. But the overwhelming majority who do it horizontally get it right, and wrong if you do it vertically. So it's going to be A minus B. So A is 3x squared plus 5x minus 4 minus, and you have to make sure that you put parentheses around the B, because parentheses are known as grouping symbols. You're subtracting the whole thing of B. So there it is. Now, when I see the minus in front of the package, it's as if there's a negative 1, and I have to distribute it to all the terms. So 3x squared plus 5x minus 4 plus 2x squared, because to multiply by a negative means to change the sign. So that becomes positive 2x squared plus 9x and minus 7. Now I get my terms together. And honestly, I only did the first one, because I said 3x squareds and 2x squareds make what? 5x squareds, and there's only one choice up there with 5x squareds on it. So I'm done. But to go a little further, 5x's and 9x's are 14x's, and negative 4 and negative 7 make negative 11. Again, I cannot emphasize enough. I used to get very, very red in the face and get super excited and tell you that I want you to write it horizontally. My experience is, if you write it horizontally and you remember the grouping symbols, there's a very, very strong chance you're going to get it right. If you write it vertically, much less of a chance. But you do what you want to do. Okay, number 3. The table below shows the average yearly balance in a savings account where interest is compounded. No money is deposited or withdrawn. Now, what I want to do is take a look at what is the interest going up by each step of the way. 80. Now, if it's going up by 80 each time, is that a linear or an exponential? Linear. So therefore, it's either choice 1 or 2. Now, is it going up or down? Up. So that's a positive rate of change, choice 2. And number 12, the value of a car purchased for $20,000. Now, this is like one that was on the test that I would hope that you could get right. 20,000 times. It's always 1 plus or minus the interest rate as a decimal, almost wrote that wrong, to the time. So it's 20,000 times 0.88 to the third. And if you do that, there's your answer. Okay? Yes? Oh, it's 1 minus the interest rate as a decimal. It says it's going down 12% per year, so that's 0.12. So 1 minus 0.12 is 0.88. Good question. Any other questions? I really should have answered that when I gave you the preamble there, but, all right, so listen, guys, I don't think that was hard. Do you think that was hard? No. So, you know, it's been a while since we did some of those questions, so let's just get our act together here. Listen, you know, years ago, when I first started coaching, I used to get really excited about my teams early in the year, and I would see certain kids on the team, and I'd see their talent, and I would like talk to other coaches in the district, or maybe the varsity coach would come and see me, and he would say, you know, what do you got? What's coming up? And I would get really, really excited about these handful of kids. And what I learned is, one of the most important components to a winner, a kid who's successful, is the ability to sustain. Not just to have talent, and not just to work hard for a short period of time, but to bring it every single day. Come in the room and to work hard and to do the job. I gotta be honest with you. I had planned on taking yesterday off. For a while. Because you guys were taking a test. You didn't need me for the test. Heck, I came in the room, you'd already gotten all your seats all over the room. I'm a day ahead in Math 8, so I could have afforded to miss a day for Math 8. Because there's a certain amount, we're in the grind. This is the time of year where you just, it's like, oh my God, another day. Yes, another day. You gotta keep pushing through, you gotta keep grinding through. And then I found out that on the 30th, you're all going to New York City. By the way, who's chaperoning that trip? It's gotta be more than that.
Kennedy, I think?
It's gotta be more than that. There's gotta be more than 2 teachers on it. So anyway, I saw that, and I said to myself, I'll move my day off until that day. Because, in all honesty, just about every kid in the grade is going, so why do I need to come to school for it? So, I'll take that moment to rest. But other than that, it's to sustain your effort, grind it every single day. Think about it. When you come in to start the school year, don't you get like really excited? You get all new notebooks, you get all your stuff together. This is gonna be the good year. You lie like a rug. And then you turn around, you get everything ready to go. And then like come October 1st, you're like, oh, and you swear you're gonna take the best notes of your life. And everything's gonna be neat and organized. And then come like October 1st, it's disgusting, and you're like, oh, screw this, man. I hate this. It's, right, that's how every single kid is. And that's what I mean about sustaining. Now, you don't necessarily have to sustain, Phoebe, you don't necessarily have to sustain your OCD-like tendencies. But you do need to sustain that effort to bring it every single day. Because if you do, when you get to the final, you'll be in great shape. I thought about not giving the quiz today. I said, you know what, maybe I won't give the quiz. 2 things convinced me to give the quiz. First off, the lesson's very short. It's nothing new. The second reason I thought about giving the quiz is I said to myself, you know what? If we're able to, I looked, I said, man, this is easy. I'm gonna make them feel good after some not so good test grades. And there were some very good test grades, so don't think all the grades were bad. There were a good number. How many people got in the 90s? Can you put your hands up higher so people can see?
90s and what?
We got 5 on the test. 5 kids in the 90s, 6 kids in the 90s. How many people, and Maya hasn't taken it yet, so there's a good chance we got 7. Now, no. How many people in the 80s? We got 4, 5 or 6 more in the 80s. So we obviously, there were ones who did well, but there were kids who did not so well. And I said to myself, give them the quiz, they'll get a high grade on the quiz, they'll feel better about themselves. And nope. So sustain that effort, work it out, prepare for the next thing. Okay. let's talk about analyzing graphs, which is like a lot of the questions on this particular quiz. Eduardo has a summer job, pays him a certain rate for the first 40 hours each week, and then...
Have the right sheet.
Oh, we're on 32? Okay. I was just looking at this saying, man, that looks familiar. Did that say 32? Okay. Ready? So much. I told you this story very quickly, but I want you to understand the importance of this. First day they ever gave the Common Core Algebra test. By the way, I have a little spot on my shirt. Every morning no, it's olive oil. Yeah, it's olive oil. And you know what happens is every morning I have olive oil with pepper. And then I dip bread in it. And well, the reason I do it is I have like no cartilage left in my shoulder. And there's this spice that you can take that brings down the inflammation in any of your joints, which is what you get when you have no cartilage left, called turmeric. I don't know if you know it. All right. So I take the turmeric pills, but turmeric pills don't work nearly as well unless you give them a fat, because it's fat soluble, and pepper. I don't know why pepper works so much better with it. I don't like pepper. But it's worth it because my shoulder will not hurt all day long. I'll go the entire day without pain in my shoulder because I take turmeric with the olive oil with the pepper. So I dip the bread in, and when I went like this, off to a bad start. All right, ready? Function type. Everybody, what function type is this? Quadratic. Good. Parent function.
X squared.
Y equals x squared. Good. Transformation. Now, what's being done to this particular function?
Up to right, one to right.
All right, so there's horizontal shift, there's vertical shift, and I got one other thing to tell you. There's also a dilation going on.
What?
A dilation.
Oh.
It's getting more narrow.
Oh.
You might have missed the narrow. You with me on that? Now, how do I know that it's more narrow? Because it's supposed to be up 1 over 1. Right? Remember we showed you how it goes with the odd numbers, 7, 5, 3, 1, etc. So instead of going up 1, it goes up 3. So that means that it has to be being multiplied by 3. So the equation is y equals 3 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. I think most of you probably had that without the 3.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Any questions? Preguntas? All right. During tryouts for the track team, Bob.
Wait, some laughing. Okay.
When I was a wee little tot, you all know the story about how my knees got wrecked and everything else.
No.
And I wasn't able to, my running ability was like non-existent. But 2 of my best friends were track runners. One was this kid, Johnny Riley, who actually, when he went to Albany State with me, actually managed to set college records. He was really, really fast. He was a sprinter. And then my other really good friend, my best friend, was Bobby Von Aiken, and Bobby was a distance runner. Now, I lived on Purick Street in Blue Point. Now, have you ever driven down Nichols Road where it first starts going from Blue Point North?
Yeah.
Nichols Road is a you know, it's like a no lights, 2-lane highway kind of deal. All right, well, anyway, if you get from Montauk Highway in Blue Point and then you go north on Nichols Road, the very first turnoff is Purick Street, and that's the street that I grew up on. So, starting one night at my house, I jogged with Bobby to the Blue Point dock, and it's about a mile to the Blue Point dock. So, I have always, in my entire life, I have found running to be the most physically painful thing on the face of the earth. I hate running. Anybody else feel like that? I despise running.
Why are you coaching softball?
I love softball. I love baseball. I love wrestling. I had to start every wrestling practice with a 3.5-mile run.
But you make us run.
Because it's necessary. It's not fun. I hate it, but it's necessary. So, what are you going to do? Hit the ball and go, ha 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 ha, look at that. No, you got to run. What do you do in the outfield? You're sitting there in the outfield, the other girl hits the ball, and you're like, Wow. Nice shot.
Well, I can walk.
So, don't get any ideas, Sam. Now, so what happens is this one night, I will never forget this. I don't know what happened. You ever hear people talk about endorphins?
Yeah.
Endorphins are like hormones inside of you that can be released through exercise. And did you ever see these people who are like marathon runners? They're like super skinny and they just practice running and like they're probably in your neighborhood and they just like run all the time. Every time you see them, all they're doing is running. And they will talk about the endorphin rush that they get when they run, and it's actually a natural high. And they'll say, I'm running because I get my natural high off of it. This one night I got that. I don't know what happened, but I ran faster than Bobby. And he was like a track distance runner, and I blew him away. I made it to Blue Point Dock. He hadn't even made it to the light on the corner of Middle Road and Blue Point Avenue. So I don't know how I did it. I felt really, really good that night. It was a very special night. So I might not have been running wind sprints, but I remember running once having fun. All right, I run to the starting wall. I have a starting wall. I run to the other wall. I stop, and I sprint back. Okay. As T approaches 6 seconds, he has to slow down. He has to slow down because he's going to run into the wall if he doesn't slow down. And then he turns around for an instant and sprints back. All right, what are the key features of this graph? Somebody tell me some important things about this graph. Phoebe.
The turning point.
Turning point, also known as the vertex. Good. What else is important? Yeah, the starting point, which is a 0, and also it becomes the ending point or the finish point. Okay, good. Here's where we're increasing in speed. We're increasing the most right here. Then we are increasing still, but we're increasing not so much. And then we increase a lot at the end. Okay, so what are the units involved? Well, this is what? Distance from the wall. I assume this is feet. Does it say in there? Yes, distance in feet. So feet and seconds. What's the parent function? Y equals x squared, good. What transformations to the parent function are being done? It's being negated, good, to flip it. What else do we got? Horizontal vertical shift, right? Do you see how this is actually, they're tricking you here. Do you see how this looks like 1? No, not really, because what's 1 box worth?
2.
No, does that say 91 to 78?
It says 9.1 to 7.
What does this say?
9.1 to 7.8.
9.1 to 7.8, okay. Are you serious?
Yes.
You're only running, 90-foot wind sprints. That's gotta be 91.
Yeah.
Has to be, yeah.
It looks like
So each box is worth 13. So there's definitely a narrowing of this, even though it doesn't look like it on the graph, because each box is worth 13, there's a narrowing. Okay, let's see here. Also, so there's vertical and horizontal shift, and there is a narrowing and a flipping. What general analytical representation would you expect to model this context? Well, it's a quadratic, all right? What do you already know about the parameters of the equation? Well, I know there's a negative, I know there's vertical and horizontal shift, and I know that it's getting more narrow. Use the ordered pairs to replace the parameters, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this, but what we can do is this. Y equals negative, and then it's going to be, what was it, 13 I said? Right, because we're going from 91 to 78. Negative 13 times x minus 4. Is that a 4 there? 2, 4. No, that's a 6, right?
6.
X minus 6 squared. 13 over 2. I'll get to that in a second. And then plus 90. Now let's explain each part. Yes, I'm going down 13 here, but didn't I go over 2? I thought it was over 1 for a minute, but when I looked here, it was over 2. So the narrowing effect is 13 over 2, and it's going to be x minus 6 squared, because this is a 6, and then it's going to be up 90 units. Okay, any questions? We good? All right, your job after this is homework and homework only. Mary, I hope that shoulder, elbow, collarbone, whatever it is, feels better. Wrist.